What's up, everybody?
What's going on, guys? I'm Manny Oso.
And I'm Nicky Trendz, and you are listening to Bubble Bath Stories, your favorite 15-minute podcast. Before we jump things off,
we gotta introduce ourselves.
We did. Big shout out to our special winner, Leo in Tampa, Florida.
Definitely.
Who won our Coffee Lovers giveaway.
Yeah.
Also shout out to 9 a.m. Somewhere Coffee, who sat and talked with us and also graduated with a master's in business.
I know. Shout out and get yourself some coffee because it's time to get the business done.
So enough of that.
Yeah.
On to new shit. Manny brought up a very interesting subject for us to talk about. Definitely. And I think it's definitely something we can all relate to.
And definitely all have an opinion on, to be honest. So a few things happened in the news in the last month or so.
Specifically this past week.
Things led up to it. So before we get into that though, Wall Street Journal came out with an article where it's entitled, "In this economy, trying to get fired is hard to do."
It is.
Yeah. The article basically talks about how we're in a situation now with the job market where underperforming staff are at a very likely chance of not losing their job. In fact, higher performing staff and people in higher positions are in a major crisis where they could lose their job, even if they're doing well.
Oh, why do you say that?
Things have been flipped around right now because the thing is, the mediocre, 9-to-5, open the store worker isn't available.
Oh, because of the pandemic.
Right, it's hard to fill these positions. And so companies are putting up with underperforming staff in order to just get the day going. I know. It's crazy though to read it because a lot of the stuff that they talk about makes sense. One of the things they mention is how when you have an office with a culture of underperformance and it's being rewarded, when you're a high performing staff member and employee, morale goes down tremendously.
So
totally makes sense,
right? So when I read that, I was like, duh, I worked for a company, I guess I won't say which one, where it was like that. Like every month felt like doomsday. Somebody, they get everybody in the conference room, and it's like boom, 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 boom. We had to let go a bunch of people, and everybody's sitting there afraid. Mm-hmm. Because most of the times it wasn't like the worst people that were getting fired. It was actually people who were doing their jobs.
Well, see, that's the thing. Their mistakes count for much, much more. So, if you have somebody...
Oh, you mean CEOs, CFOs?
Not just that. A manager even.
Oh.
A person who's in a leadership position. Their mistakes count for much more than somebody... So right now, in the article, they talk about how... there's a strategy going around with management where they're, instead of firing underperformers, they're just switching them to other tasks. So that they don't mess everything up.
Which is not terrible, right?
Yeah.
Because it could just be, maybe they fit somewhere else and it doesn't mean you're understaffed. It just means you have to move things around.
I can just imagine how morale would be down though, because I'm not going to mention the company. They're kind of yellow though. They're having trouble filling positions, and we get really, really upset seeing people come into the job and not have a care in the world about it because they know they just need something to get through for the next few months. And
that just makes your job harder.
It makes a person not want to come into work, to be honest.
Well, I mean, that's fair. It's also why am I working so hard? That seems silly. I should be doing what everybody else is doing and I can still keep my job.
And that brought up to me a few things that happened in the news. Because when you're in a position like that, the only thing you can really think to yourself is, am I going to leave and walk out, or am I going to try to get them to get rid of me and keep some benefits?
I mean...
Because let me tell you, if you quit, you lose benefits.
That's
typically what happens.
Don't quit unless you got something else lined
up. But
up.
if you can get fired, you could potentially keep your stuff. if you get fired the right way.
Right, because you get unemployment benefits
Exactly.
and severances and
So
people feel bad.
So, on April 14th, 2022, business magnate?
Is it magnet?
Inside joke if you've seen the movie. Business magnate Elon Musk offered to purchase American social media company Twitter Inc. for $43 billion after previously acquiring 9.1% of the company's stock for $2.64 billion. Since then, there has been huge speculation that this guy's been trying to tank this deal.
I mean, I feel like you predicted that, though. I feel like once this came through, you were like, he's
like,
gonna
this is not a good
he doesn't
thing.
want to, he's having buyer's remorse and doesn't want to spend that money.
It's nuts because there have been so many things that he's been tweeting since then that are just like making the stock go down, making morale around the company go down. He's some people are even saying that he's kind of his tweets are violating disclosure laws.
I mean, didn't he bring back Trump's ability to tweet?
He tweeted that he's going to allow Trump back in. But see, here's the thing. If he were to say, I don't want to do the deal anymore, he owes $1 billion to them.
Oh, wait. So there's something in the contract that says,
yes,
you pay us $4 billion, we'll give you the company. But if you are chicken shit and pull out last minute, you still gotta give us $1 billion because you wasted our time and resources.
Yes.
That's very fair.
Yeah. I mean...
That's really good, actually. I've never heard of a company doing that.
Yeah, well, I did read, there's a guy, Brian Quinn, he's a professor at Boston College. He basically says he's already signed on the dotted line, and that says he bought the house. If after you buy a house, you say, I want to get a lower price, the seller's going to say no.
To do?
Basically. So right now, if you check out the stocks, I mean, the stocks have been going down.
I mean,
down.
for a lot of
things.
Yeah.
But the idea, though, is that he's doing this in order to either, one, get voted out, and they would have to say, okay, we don't want you part of this. You're making our company look bad.
Would he lose his shares?
No, if he can get them to tell him to leave. You know, like, and they say, I'm taking my ball and going home. No, he's punching holes in all the balls until you tell him to leave the playground.
Oh, shit.
Yes, that's trying to get fired, folks.
I mean, but that's smart.
Yes.
Now, you can't be mad. Like, Twitter's probably pissed off, but as a regular schmegular person who doesn't have billions of dollars, that actually is fucking smart.
Well, see, the terrible thing, too, I mean, I'm depending on who you ask, but the thing is, too, is that the shares for Twitter are not the only things that are going down. So he may not even have the money to cover if he goes through with the deal. Because Tesla, where most of his money is coming from, when he first made that deal, Tesla was at $11.45. Now it's at $6.28. Since yesterday when I checked. I don't know what it is now. But he might not even have the money to do it. No, personal money. He can't just sell Tesla.
No, but isn't he a part of isn't he rich? Isn't he super rich? Like his mom just did Sports Illustration's like this.
I mean, then you go into speculation about how they just type numbers in and, whatever.
I feel like you saw that coming a long time ago.
Definitely. I feel like
he was doing it just to flex.
Yeah.
But now you ain't even got the money.
But you made a deal. You signed on a dotted line, so you're gonna owe them even if you leave. So
now you fucked yourself because you may be actually losing tons of money.
It's a lot of speculation, but I believe it. But here's the other side of the coin. On Monday, Sasha Banks and Naomi, WWE superstars.
Was it Monday?
Monday, yeah, on Monday prior to
the taping of this show.
Prior to the broadcast, because a lot of people wanted to say that they walked out on the job. No. They came, turned their belts in, and left before the broadcast even started.
Wow. Oh, they returned the belts. If you guys aren't aware, Sasha Banks and Naomi are from WWE superstars.
Yeah. Before Monday, they were the current women's tag team champions.
Both women of color.
Both high accolades as well.
Strong family ties.
Strong connections. They walked out on the company. They walked out on WWE on Monday Night Raw, turned in their belts, and have not made a single comment since. Walking out on your job. Now, let me tell you some of the things that have happened since then.
I know.
Because it hasn't all been pretty.
You are thirsty to
talk. It has not all been pretty.
You are thirsty to talk about this.
So the thing is, according to Masked Man Show, which is a wrestling show, they just talk about it, reports and stuff. Reports show that both of their contracts will actually expire soon. Both athletes were in negotiations over contract renewals from before the Monday Night Raw taping. So there's this whole thing right now that people talk about when wrestlers leave WWE is that they have this non-compete clause, 90 days.
Yeah, you've told me about it.
And on top of the 90 days, WWE will tackle on any other time off you've had.
I fucking hate Vince McMahon.
Medical leave, injury, everything, stuff like that. Anything that you had to leave for any other reason, they'll tackle that on, you know? And so the thing that worries me is Sasha Banks left for a little. For a little bit of time. She took like 6 or 7 months off for depression in 2019.
Oh shit.
So we might not see her on TV for a while. For a long, long time.
How long do you think?
I don't know. I mean, we don't know yet if they've actually are done from the company because the only report is that they've been suspended indefinitely without pay.
Which, like, low-key means...
Yeah.
They're not... Yeah.
Weird things have gone on, though, because the thing is, like, people have walked out on WWE.
Yeah,
like,
but you never know if it's a part of the show or not.
Yeah, you never know. But, like, so the day of, they put out this press release on Instagram, like, a whole thing saying, explaining what's going on. It was weird to see that, though. Yeah. Because they weren't on the match that they were going to be on wasn't even advertised. So whoever was at the arena didn't even know Sasha Banks and Naomi were going to wrestle that night.
Oh.
So the press
release... They could have avoided all of that.
The press release was just weird because anybody else who's walked out on the company, they've never done a press release like that.
I wonder why. And
then this week also, after it happened, a lot of people went onto the WWE store. The merchandise has been completely wiped off.
For Sasha.
It's not available.
Oh!
Which is one of the weirdest things about it. Because they're merchandise movers. So you can't even buy a Sasha Banks t-shirt. You can't buy a Naomi t-shirt
You can't
anymore.
buy the rings.
You can't get the rings. You can't... And it's not boss time anymore. But that's weird, though, because if they're merchandise movers, like, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You don't want people to buy the clothes? Out of spite?
I am not an avid wrestler, watcher, fan, and or the other. But I remember seeing this, sending it to Manny, and already feeling like this was straight up bullshit. Because the first match I saw Sasha Banks was with, what's her name? Banks? What? Banks? Air Banks? No.
Oh,
Belair?
Bianca Belair?
Right. Because, like, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Mentioning, so one of the headlines for WrestleMania. Yeah.
But they both did a match together, and it was like this historical thing because they were both women of color, both women. It was like a title fight. It was fun, and I remember watching it and being so happy for them.
Yeah.
But like, this just feels gross in a lot of ways. Like I feel like they wouldn't do this with any of the other male members, especially white men.
So
let's be real.
Brock Lesnar, and don't get me wrong, I fucking love Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar walked out on the company. He was completely unprofessional by the way he did it. He didn't finish the match the way it was supposed to go. He just
he quit. He walked out
on live pay-per-view.
Oh, so you like paid for it, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not working."
And he's back in the company, no problem. They were best friends like nothing. And more recently, so these are things people have been pointing out about like because the statement said that they walked out and it was unprofessional, and they kept saying unprofessional and stuff like that. Other people have been super unprofessional with things. So there's this moment that got pointed out that happened maybe like I think in November. Mm-hmm. It was Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, and so they switched television shows. One was on SmackDown, one was on Raw. Okay. They switched. They were the respective champion of each show at the time. Okay. So when they switched, they had to do a title exchange. Okay. It was like a whole press junkie thing that they were just trying to have a picture moment for the show, for the fans. You know, it's just something to see. Oh, the switching of the titles, like it's supposed to be said, whatever. You know, they didn't do it the right way though because of their personal feelings. They didn't like each other at the time. Okay. And they just threw the belts at each other. It wasn't on script. It was super unprofessional.
Oh, they really don't like each other.
At the time, they really didn't like each other, and they did it on TV.
Listen, I just say it feels like Sasha is the moneymaker. Yeah. Because you talk about her nonstop all the time. I see her everything.
Bro, you want to talk about... And I love the Usos. But you want to talk about unprofessional. One of the Usos been pulled over for drinking and driving.
Like twice.
Countless times, yes.
If you
I'm not counting.
If you don't know, the Russos are cousins.
Cousins of Roman Reigns.
Who's cousins... First cousins of The Rock. Watch Young Rock, by the way. You'll get all the references.
Naomi is married to one of the Usos.
So she's a part of the legacy that we were talking about.
And she doesn't get this benefit of the doubt.
And she's been doing it for very long
time. She has a huge library of wrestling matches.
Because I remember when E did Divas, she was like one of the main characters.
I mean, when you're in a wrestling family, yeah, you got pulled like that. But the thing is, like, people are bringing up the fact that, like, the two of them, the reason behind it, the only speculation is that they felt disrespected as their position in the company.
So what? Okay, so for people who don't know wrestling, mm-hmm. Their contracts were almost up. Yeah, they were supposed to do this title fight that they felt was beneath them.
No, their contract was almost up. Uh-huh. They were in negotiations for it. Monday, they were supposed to do a match in order to determine who was going to fight the champion.
But aren't they already champions?
So that's the problem. They are tag team champions, and there are no tag team championship matches being scheduled for them. They're just holding on to these belts. They're just they're not being utilized.
So this match that they had to do was just like for one person to champion?
It was supposed to be a bunch of people. So it was supposed to be like 6 different women. They were all going to wrestle, and whoever was the winner was going to go on to face the women's champion.
Regardless if they were a tag team.
Yeah, they weren't going to wrestle as
so teammates had to go against each other.
Yes.
And they were like, no.
No, what they were saying was that, why are we holding these belts? Why are we doing this?
How many tag teams are there?
Because here's the thing, the belts don't really matter.
Well, obviously. But
whoever has it, like, that's
I need to know, how many tag teams are there in the women's division?
So that's the funny thing.
That they aren't having any tag
That's the funny thing that people are talking. There are only 2 actual women's tag teams.
I'm leaving.
The rest of them, I'm out of here. The rest of them are just wrestlers that they put together and said, hey, you 2 are a tag team, you 2 are a tag team, and you 2 are a tag team.
So there's only 4 women who
are actually
tag teams. So basically they're just fighting each other continuously and taking turns getting the belts.
Yeah.
I would have walked out too.
There's no point in what they're doing. After everything that they've done, they're being just
demoted.
Demoted.
Probably because they want WWE probably wants them to quit.
Well, so a thing that did come out was that Sasha Banks reportedly she was actually supposed to main event WrestleMania this year and go up against Becky Lynch for the belt, and instead against Charlotte Flair for the belt.
Okay.
And then
Ric Flair's daughter.
And then they gave it to Ronda Rousey instead.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's apparently what really pissed her off about it all.
And that's a great example to lead into this whole quitting versus getting fired debate.
How much is enough? And when enough is enough?
When you bring in someone who just doesn't have any fucking idea about the industry to get the clout above the people who are in the industry, who know the politics, who know all of that, I would have fucking walked out too. Because how many jobs have I been on where somebody who didn't know anything about production was running production and didn't know what the fuck they were doing? And not because they didn't know the culture of the environment, more they had no idea how TV was made.
So, like, I'm not gonna lie. I've taken a job I was not qualified for before.
I mean, you know.
But I guarantee you, the people who were around me were like, what the fuck why is this guy here? Unless, I mean, I've been in those positions and I did really well.
Yeah.
But, like, that's the issue at hand. Like, if you have dedicated your life to a craft and have gotten so much respect and accolades in that craft, only to be shunned down for somebody who's popular right now, who has gone on record and bad-mouthed fans of that industry. She has said, fuck wrestling fans.
But can we also talk about how even Elon, what he's doing, let's say this deal doesn't go through, right? He gets fired. That is going to disrupt the work environment of Twitter, where it may cause people to actually lose their fucking jobs because they're not getting this money that they thought they were getting. I feel. Do you think that's fair to say?
It's terrible when a person is willing to tank not only the company that they're saying they're going to, but also their own company at the same time.
Yes, because his stocks are...
Because it's all connected. And, I mean, I don't know stocks, but I know Tesla is part of NASDAQ.
Yes.
So we don't want those companies doing bad.
Right. No, you're absolutely right.
You know?
I mean, it just... Here's my advice. Never quit a job unless you have something lined up. That's always been my thing.
Definitely.
But I was definitely in a very stressful situation where I had to get out. I didn't have a job out, but I knew staying there was going to be not good for me.
So the whole walkout thing, if you walk out, like, what's your opinion of walking out versus giving a 2-week notice?
No, okay. I have walked out and just been like tell so-and-so I'm picking up my last check and just been out. And then, like, obviously crying afterward and hyperventilating. Like, oh shit, I don't have a job. Oh my god, what am I gonna do? But giving the 2 weeks notice is, like, fucking annoying. Because
they wouldn't give you a 2-week notice if they're gonna fire you.
And I have to say, it wasn't really until maybe a few years ago that I really felt comfortable quitting a job and, like, questioning this whole 2-week thing. Because you're right, if I've gotten fired without a 2-week notice.
Without a 2-hour notice.
This whole idea of like, well, we're all family in a work environment, I no longer believe in, because I've gotten fucked over so many times. And very manipulative ways, because that's what management's supposed to do. Keep you on the hook until they don't need you anymore.
Exactly.
And so, I think there's just I always believe in don't burn your bridges no matter what.
Yeah.
Because out of a terrible situation, there might be one person there who's going to remember you when they move on. Yeah. But, like, sometimes you just got to be like...
When you're in a walkout situation, then you're on that burning bridge. You got to get off.
Yeah, and you do it for yourself. Yeah. And getting fired is terrible. Like, nobody wakes up in the morning like, I hope I get fired.
What would you do in your current job?
I've been demoted too because of somebody else.
Like, maybe not but like, how ballsy do you have to be to try to get fired?
I mean,
like you really come in and underperform and be like, I'm clocked in, I'm just sitting here all day.
I've seen it.
You have to try.
I've seen it happen, and you would be surprised. Yeah. And I think usually contracts are legally binding. Yeah. And so when people are trying to get out of them, they will do whatever they need to get out. And I've seen it. because whatever is on the other side is like in their minds or whatever is a bigger, better opportunity.
It's crazy to go into a company, and I know I'm not the only one, because in where I work right now, there's a major gap between people who have been there for 30 years and people who've been there for 5 years.
Yeah, wow.
Huge gap between. And so the people who just come in, you know, coming in job to job, you know, if you lose the job or if you quit, it's whatever to a person like that. But a person who's been there like 20 years or so, like they cannot lose their job.
They have a lot. They have a lot more to lose.
They'll lose so many benefits. They'll lose everything.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's not for the weak at heart. You really gotta weigh your options.
And so that's situation like that is where you see the whole trying to get fired versus walking out.
I mean,
because I've seen people walk out and they walk out on 30 years of benefits, and I've seen people sit there, not do anything, and try to get fired.
So the thing
with
Sasha Banks and Naomi is like, I get it.
Yeah.
They've been put through the ringer. They prove themselves time and time again. It's almost like your boss saying, do this one thing, and that promotion is yours. And you do the one thing, and the one thing leads to another thing, and then another thing, and it's never fucking ending. And I strongly right now do not believe, and I encourage other people, do not believe that your job is your family. We're all family here. No, you have friends at your job. You have coworkers who care. But when it comes down to it, they don't. Everybody's about themselves and their jobs. And the way that WWE is handling that, I've given a 2-week notice and have been treated like that.
Yeah.
Like I fucking killed somebody's firstborn. But in reality, I was just thinking about my future and trajectory in my career. So I get what they're going through. I mean, obviously it's a bigger scale.
Yeah.
But it's almost like a hurt ex. Oh, you think you're gonna leave me and you're gonna be fine? Let's see how good you are when you're not selling your merchandise. Let's see how good you are when you can't wrestle for 2, 3, 4, 5 fucking years or however long they want to hold you. Like, I get it. It just sucks because I'm always on Twitter. And I only have seen a blowout like this. Yeah. And for people to say that they were unprofessional is stupid, because if you look at Vince McMahon's record, he doesn't understand didn't he fire his daughter?
He does not know the meaning of the word professional.
Or loyalty. He fired his own fucking daughter, apparently. That's speculation. I don't know. But all in all, guys, don't quit before you have another job. Yeah. If you feel like shit is getting crazy, start looking for another job. You don't need to do 2 weeks unless it's stated in your contract and you've signed off on it. And your work boss is like, that's not your family. Regardless if you spend 100 million hours with them, more hours than your family.
Well, listen, I don't know about Musk and Naomi, but Sasha Banks, she's got options. And even if she has to fulfill the amount of time and not do anything.
I love how you just said Elon Musk doesn't have options.
I don't know what that guy does really. But you know, she was on The Mandalorian.
Oh wow.
She could still be on The Mandalorian. She's got a music career that she actually turned away from to keep wrestling. Because Snoop Dogg's her cousin. She was actually just seen at a Steve Aoki concert hanging out with his son. They were just hanging out. It doesn't look like she's hurting, is what I'm saying. Right. But you know, Naomi's her people's, and she did it. The best thing is she's married to the guy who makes everybody in the industry's costumes.
Oh yeah, that's right, you told me.
So she's got options, you guys. But she's got connects.
But you know, Naomi is her tag team partner, and if she did this in solidarity, where she needs to make sure that Naomi.
Yeah. If they're in it together, because
that's another little fun life advice. If you drag somebody in and your trajectory is high and you drag somebody in for your protest, you better fucking make sure that they're doing just as good as you.
Or at least offer. Right. You're like, look, I'm going here. Are you coming or not? This is why we did this.
So, I personally would rather could think I'm fired.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would be more in control of it.
I think it would be pretty fun to try to get fired.
Oh, well, let's stay tuned, guys. Apparently Manny's been thinking about this for a while. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining us. As always, it's a pleasure. If you want to find out what we're up to, you can go to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube at Bubble Bath Stories.
Yeah, if you want to get at me and let me know your opinion, you can get me I Got No Time For This on Instagram.
And you can find me at Nicky Trendz on Instagram as well. And if you're looking to join the conversation in style, be sure to hit up our website, bubblebathstories.co, for official